Thanks. So yeah, I'm Lizzie, and I am the Learning Technology Officer for RZSS. I don't think you need the whole RZSS spiel again, but I'm going to talk to you about a year in the life of ZOOdle. And if you have spoken to probably any member of the RZSS team over the last year, you will have heard the word ZOOdle. So I'm really quickly going to tell you what it is in case that bit has been missed. So ZOOdle is our Zoo digital learning environment. It's our website that we have online where we put all of our online learning. It has very recently been trademarked. We now own a trademark for ZOOdle, and I'm very excited about that. I've been putting TM all over the website the last few days. So ZOOdle, we always had an online learning environment for many years at RZSS, but we had it in the plan to give it a complete revamp, aiming for June 2020. And this was before we knew what 2020 was going to look like. And so 2020 hit and we decided, yeah, why not? Let's go ahead with that revamp on top of all of the work that we've got to do about everything else as well. And it was an experience. It was a year. So the new website for ZOOdle went live on the 25th of June 2020, and so it has now been up for a year. And I wanted to take the opportunity for a conference with the theme of lessons learned to look back over the year of the website in its current format. So I'm going to talk you through, it's going to be a little bit data heavy, I'm afraid, this one, but hopefully I'm really hoping that there's something in here that can be useful for everyone. Becky hasn't seen this presentation, so she doesn't know how much of our trade secrets I'm giving away here. But the data that I'm going to share with you has been captured by our platform, which runs on a website called Moodle, which is completely free. You just have to have a little bit of technical knowledge and a web server to host it. And Moodle captures a lot of learning data for us. And I'm also using some data that has been captured by Google Analytics on the website as well. So we'll have a quick look at an overview. This is going to be the big numbers for the site. And like I said, we are incredibly proud of what ZOOdle has done over the last year. So I am shouting from the rooftops about some of these numbers, but this presentation isn't about, look how wonderful it is. It is going to be open and honest about what we can learn from it. So in the year, it's actually 13 months. I've cheated slightly because I got confused downloading my data. So this is July 2020, the start of July 2020 to the end of July 21. And you can see that we've had 686,000 page views, 41,000 families. And the number that I'm really kind of the most proud of the big numbers is that interaction. So all I've done to work out the interaction is literally divide the page views by the family numbers. But you can see that people who are visiting our site have stayed. They aren't just clicking on it because they saw a link on Facebook and going, oh, that's boring, and disappearing. People are doing an average of 16 things when they visit the website. So that's something that I'm really proud of. And I think it's a takeaway that hopefully that proves that what we're doing is working. It is engaging people, at least for 16 clicks. This one's taken from Google Analytics over that period that I said, July to July, and it is where in the world people have visited our website from. So if anybody knows anyone in Greenland and wants to send them a link to ZOOdle, that would be amazing. I really want to get that one blue. But it's quite exciting, obviously, and as we probably would have expected, the UK is the darkest block there, but we have got such a widespread. Some of these countries have only got like one view and Google colours it the entire country in for us, so it's a bit of a cheat, but it is a really exciting graphic. So I'm going to take a bit of a deeper dive into some of the data now. So this is where we get a little bit screen heavy. So please bear with me, but hopefully, like I said, there'll be something that's interesting here for you too. So I've mapped out the page views by month over the last year. So this is the 600 and whatever thousand, my brain isn't good with numbers. This is that number mapped out over the months. And the year that I've taken is obviously the only year that the website has been up, but it's not necessarily a true reflection of how the usage will be year on year. But it is quite interesting to see. You can see when Scotland went back into lockdown at the sort of Christmas time, we saw a massive spike there. And I don't expect to see that every year. I really hope we don't go into lockdown every year. So I don't expect to see that. But the exciting thing is that although it has, again, dropped off when things started opening up again, it didn't drop back down to those lower levels towards the end of the 2020. We have kept up a higher level of engagement. And we are now averaging about 26,000 views over the last 6 months. It's been wavering around that 26,000 pretty solidly. I did a really quick thing last night. That I had to write a script to go through my Excel spreadsheet of thousands of data just to try and work out, and I've not corrected the times on this slide. I did this last night. So 6 p.m. is true. It's the most popular time that people have viewed the website. We have had 43,000 hits within that hour between 6 and 7. So it's quite interesting that people are using the website in the evening the most. The other most popular times are 4 p.m. and 11 a.m. And the one that the second circle should say is 4 a.m. Not 6 p.m. 4 a.m. is the least popular time. So this is, because the website is available all over the world, we are still getting 13,500 hits at 4 a.m. in the morning over the year. But yes, it's all over the world, but this is converted into UK time. So 4 a.m., 3 a.m. and 1 a.m. are the least popular times to be on our website. So if you're thinking of launching any online learning, don't do it at 4 o'clock in the morning. We have our website ZOOdle is broken down into categories. So this was something that we kind of did as a strategy to try and make the website more accessible, make people find the content that's relevant to them quicker. So we have the family section, which is resources set up for families learning together. So they're stuff that's aimed at kids, but also that kids can use with their parents, with their adults in their lives, to all learn about nature together. We have 27 pages under that section. And you can see how many views they've got and then what an average of that is per page. The teachers section has resources to support all of our sort of in zoo learning. So we've got resources that they can use before and after they would come to the zoo, or they would have a virtual session with us, and we have 19 pages of those. Adults is a section where currently we have short, snappy, very 5-minute sort of courses for adults to take a break and to clear their heads and learn about something new. And we also put things under the adult section, like any courses for training that we might be running. We have a section there for our volunteers to get information as well, and that all goes under the adult section in those 17 pages. And finally, Explore is the last section, and that is home to anything that we do that's related kind of to our conservation work or to events that we have on either site. So it looks like a lot of pages that's not getting, a huge amount of page views, and that's because they're mostly kind of very time sensitive things under the Explore. They might only be available over Halloween or something like that. So I'm now going to dive in and have a look at what our most popular pages were. And far and away, our most popular page has been Beyond the Panda, which is a program that's been running for many years for our ZSS, and it is it's for schools, but that Sandy did a fantastic job of adapting it in lockdown so that there was a bit of content for families learning together as well. And it has information about pandas, but it has a lot of language learning for Mandarin in there as well. And the other maybe slight cheat of how Beyond the Panda got so high up the rankings is that it has great ties with China, lots of sponsorship, and so it has a lot of extra marketing power behind it that our ZSS aren't adding. So you can, I think Beyond the Panda is a great course. It's available free online. Do go and have a look at it. But I think the size of that number of those page views really proves just how powerful marketing can be when you're trying to do something like this. Zoo Studies is an interesting one. If you were here yesterday, you'll have heard Blair talk about it, so I won't go into too much detail, but it's really that page view number, 63,600, was only split between about 40 50 people, because they were so engaged with that course. They were doing so many things. They don't have so many. If I did this by user, they would be right down near the bottom of the entire website. But because it's by page views, they're up right at the top. So that's quite interesting. And the other two that are in pink there are courses that we made for families. So the Animal Behaviour Hub is one for kind of secondary level, but anyone can have a go to learn about animal behaviour using our webcams at home. It's like a sort of mini taster tester course for zoo studies. And then Pandatastic is there as well, which has about 10 different activities, online, offline, printable, for families to do together to learn more about pandas. The least popular, see, I'm going to be completely open and honest, and I made some of these as well, so there's absolutely no shame, but it's worth learning from. So the least popular of our courses, Polly the Puffin comes down at the bottom, and that is a course that was made for nursery kids, kind of learning with their families. It's got a story and a song on there. So maybe we haven't got enough data yet to draw conclusions, but maybe nursery aren't so interested in learning online. To give Polly the Puffin a little bit of a get out, that course did only launch in April 21, so it hasn't got quite as many months of data behind it as some of these courses as well. So not making excuses, but I'm making excuses. And some of our adult courses are also down at the bottom. And I think that is probably just because of the time that we launched it, because they came out with the family stuff. We had a theme every week during lockdown. So we had Oh Dear, which was the family course learning about deer, and then Deliberating Deer was an adult course learning about deer. And it's quite possible that people just didn't have the time and brain space to take 5 minutes out and didn't want to know about deer right there and then. All of these courses, all of these pages will remain online for as long as we want them to. So we can come back in another year and see if people are using them. I had a go at filtering the courses by topic, so I definitely will have forgotten some topics, but these are kind of the broader ones. And so what I've done here is count all of the views for every course that I think kind of comes under the broad umbrella of languages, and then divide it by how many courses there were. So languages has been our most popular. We have several courses beyond the Panda, which I mentioned. We have some Gaelic resources for schools. And then animal behaviour, it comes up quite highly there, as again, of course, because that includes zoo studies, which was higher up in the data before. Homepages get a lot of hits because they are on every website. They are on every single page with the top banner. So it's quite expected that they would be up there, but that number is missing as well. That's not right. It's not 3,000. But it's expected that they would be up there near the top anyway. So that's quite kind of good to know that things sometimes go as you expect them to. And the least popular topics, events, I mentioned before, don't get so many hits because they're very time sensitive. We have things that come out just for Halloween, just over Advent, and things like that. Staff training again comes up here because they are very specific. They're only for specific people who have registered, not necessarily always open to the public for those things. So getting 1,000 hits in a year isn't that bad really for things that people have to register for. Then again, I had another go, because I thought this might be useful for everybody listening. I had a go at trying to filter the courses broadly, giving them an animal. So a lot of our courses have lots and lots of different topics on them, but some of them are focused on animals. So I had a go at trying to kind of tell which animals people are most interested in, which animals aren't getting as many hits. So our pandas have been drawing people in. We've got about 5, I think, courses about the majority about pandas. So that number is quite large. And penguins, birds, cat. We've got cats, which I also included tigers in there. We have a tiger course as well. And our least popular animals by views. We've these again. So these ones, although they come up as the least popular, they also have maybe only 1 or 2 pages to them as well. So that kind of ties in, but hopefully this information might be useful. That if you were looking to get a lot of hits on your website, talk about penguins and maybe not reptiles. so much. So I'm just going to kind of, I was going to maybe give people a couple of minutes to have a look, but I think I've kind of run almost to time. So note down learning.rzss.org.uk, and please do go and have a look on our website. All of the resources that I've been talking about, except for Zoo Studies, are open completely for free to the public. So you can have a look. Each of our pages has got a range of resources. So there are things that you can do online, interactive, but there are also things that you can print, and there are suggestions for getting outside and doing things aimed at families, aimed at adults, aimed at teachers. So if you've got 5 minutes, please just click on, have a look, have an explore. And so then just to sum up really, my key takeaways with my cheeky wolf, these sort of data that I've shared with you today, the things that worked and the things that didn't, are going to inform how we move forward, both with ZOOdle, because we definitely want to keep adding things to the website in the future, but also how we move forward in general in discovery and learning here, because we've got all of this data about when people like to look at things, what topics are interesting people, and things like that. So for instance, it looks like a couple of our courses that are much more structured but self-led, like those Zoo Studies ones, have been really popular, and so that will be something that we look into doing a little bit more in the future. Secondary resources were really popular. That was quite a surprise to us. I think most of the things that we did had been aimed at a primary level, and so the 3 or 4 courses that we have up there for secondary, those viewing numbers really took us by surprise, and that will be an area that we're looking to move into again in the future. And things that involve interaction with our animals, looking at our live webcams, adding extra layer of information about animal behaviour, and learning about the animals that we have here in the zoo, learning their specific names and a bit about their personalities. That seems to be really, really popular as well. And so that's something that we'll be looking at, and maybe you would like to look at doing yourself. So hopefully there were some helpful hints there that everyone can take away. I know, that was quite focused on online learning, but the topics, the times, even the time of year, if heaven forbid we have another lockdown, those sorts of things hopefully might be translatable into your work, and hopefully it can help everyone. So here are my contact links. I really want to draw attention to my visual pun because I don't think anyone's got it yet. And thank you for listening to me.